Hello and welcome to the Vauxhall Corsa SRi VX-Line. It's kind of a halfway house between the standard SRi and of course the full fat VXR. But is it a model worth having? Well, I'm going to drive it to find out. Now cars like this are made to be practical, so how easy is it to get in and out? Let's find out. So, seat forward like so, step in. Oh, right. Let's pop the seat back. So, the legroom is pretty decent. I've got a fair amount of room behind this passenger seat, which has been adjusted halfway forward. Headroom is pretty good as well for my 6'2" frame. But what if I wanted to sit behind a driver of the same height as me? Let's budge over. And again, the legroom is pretty agreeable. So, I've got no complaints there. And obviously, the headroom is exactly the same, of course. And let's pop back over to clamber out. Right. Seat forward. Right. Oh, it's not quite as dignified, but it's not too difficult. But what about the boot? Well, it's 285 litres, which isn't bad, but it is smaller than the Ford Fiesta and the Seat Ibiza. But if you want more room, you can of course fold down the rear bench, and that will give you over 1,000 litres. But quite annoyingly, you don't get 60/40 rear seats. You can have them, but you will need to pay an extra £140 for them as an optional extra. That's quite disappointing. So the SRi VX-Line comes with a good choice of engines. You can either have a 1 litre turbocharged petrol, a 1.4 litre turbocharged petrol, or you can have an engine that I have, which is for 1.3 litre turbocharged diesel. Okay, let's see what this is like, shall we? Start her up. Okay, right, let's get out on the road and see what this car's like, shall we? Right, so this is a first drive video, so these are my initial impressions. This is by no means a full extensive review, but I will try and give you as much feedback as I possibly can in this video. So hopefully you can make an informed choice when it comes to buying the car. Or not buying the car if you don't like what you see, of course. Away we go. So, the engine can sound a little bit drony at high revs, but when you just cruise, so if I just bring it down to 40, it's quite smooth and refined. You can't really hear it too much. One thing that does surprise me is the lack of tyre noise. Now, this car's got 17-inch alloys. They come as standard, and okay, this surface is coarse, but on this surface, you can't really hear the tyres, and I find it quite impressive because I was expecting the tyre noise to be quite high because it has big alloys. It has got eco tyres though, so that probably helps as well. It hasn't got any really grippy tyres, but having said that, the grip isn't too bad, but I will cover that in due course. Now let me talk about the 1.3 litre diesel. It has 95 PS, so 94 brake horsepower, with 190 newton meters of torque. It will hit 62 miles per hour in 11.9 seconds, and the top speed is 113 miles per hour. So it may look like a hot hatch, but it doesn't go like a hot hatch. But that's intended because what this car offers is a chance for younger drivers to drive something that looks sporty, both on the outside and on the inside, but without the high running costs and of course for high insurance. And I'm all for that because you don't have to have a lot of power to have fun. And I've driven this car a fair bit already and I have quite enjoyed it. I will be honest, I wouldn't have the diesel engine, but it does mean you get better economy. Now, speaking of economy, let me give you those figures. So on a combined run, you're looking at 78.5 miles to the gallon, and in regards to CO2 emissions, you're looking at 94 grams per kilometre. So it is a green car. Well, the car's red, but you know what I mean. But like I say, I wouldn't opt for diesel. If it were me, I'd probably go for the 1 litre turbocharged unit, which has 113 brake horsepower. And that's one of the advantages of having this over the standard SRi. It looks better, well, that's subjective. It looks sportier, I should say, and you also get the chance to have the more powerful 1 litre engine, whereas in the SRi, you don't get that option. The engine is mated to a 5-speed manual gearbox, which has got quite nice changes. They're relatively snappy, but it's not the best gearbox I've used in a hatchback this year. I think cars like the Ford Fiesta and the Seat Ibiza have a better gear change, but the gear change in this is by no means bad. It's just not the best I've used. This car does of course have sport suspension, which means that the ride is rather firm, but it's not uncomfortable. And on roads like this, you don't really notice it too much, but the ride can become rather lumpy when you get it on rougher roads, but that's to be expected. But even then, it's still relatively compliant. The ride is pretty decent, so it's sporty, but it's not bone shaking, which is pretty good because it means that you get to have a sportier ride, but your back won't pay the penalty for it. The pedals have got a nice weight to them, so the brakes are pretty sharp. Brake pedal has got good feedback to it, and the car does handle pretty well. Now I'm just going through a town at the moment. I need to find somewhere where I can let the car loose a little bit more. But on the roads I've driven it on already today, it has been rather good fun. Is it as fun as the new Seat IB for FR? No, it's not, if I'm going to be completely honest, but it's by no means boring. So as I'm stuck in traffic, let me talk you through some of the specification of the car. So on top of the standard SRi, the VX-Line model gives you bigger alloys, so you get 17-inch instead of 16. You also get the VXR body styling, and inside you get sport seats. You also get a plethora of red stitching. So you've got red stitching on the steering wheel, on the gear lever, on the handbrake, on the seats, and it does look very sporty in here. The sport seats though, I don't know, they're not quite as supportive as I would have liked or would have hoped. They're not uncomfortable, but I don't know how I would feel about driving this car a long distance. I know this car is not made for cruising, but yeah, the seats aren't, don't know, it's just lack that support, which is a little bit disappointing. But from an ergonomic point of view, this car is easy to drive. Getting a good driving position is very easy indeed. The steering wheel adjusts for brake and reach. It's got plenty of adjustment, so I've got no complaints there. So in regards to the other specification, you get automatic lights and wipers, you get cruise control, you get the 7-inch touchscreen with smartphone connectivity and Bluetooth and DAB radio, but it's no navigation, unfortunately. You get aircon, but this model has got climate control as an optional extra. This car also has a heated steering wheel and heated seats, but again, they are optional. This has got the OnStar system, which is very good. I experienced it in the Vauxhall Insignia when I drove it earlier this year, and I have to say I was very impressed by that. Good little service, but again, that's optional. But it may sound like I'm giving you a lot of stuff that's optional, but quite a lot on this car does come as standard. So you do get a fair bit for your money. Oh, bit of FUD from the suspension there. You do get a fair bit for your money, and this car would cost you £16,555, which is on par with its rivals, but this car does have a few optional extras. So this particular model I'm sat in is almost £20,000. So what is the car like to drive? Well, let's take it out on the open road and find out. So as you can imagine, it's not the fastest car going. Sometimes the diesel engine does feel like it's lacking some guts somewhat, but when you've got it up to speed, like I have now, it's not too bad at all. Now, obviously this car has got the sport suspension, so it is a little bit lumpy down here, but the cornering and the handling is pretty good. This car has got eco tyres, but even so, it is still rather grippy, and you will need to push it quite hard to get some understeer. And it's a pretty fun car to drive. Okay, it's not the most fun I've had in a hatchback this year, but it's not dull, and the handling is dynamic. It makes up for its kind of lack of punch in regards to power. But the diesel, of course, offers better economy, and it's not a bad engine. It's just feels like sometimes you have to work it quite hard in order to make some progress. The power delivery isn't fantastic. The power starts to kick in as you approach 3,000 revs, and I know the car's not built to be fast, but a car like this, you want it to have a bit of punch. The brakes are pretty good, the steering's got a nice weight to it, it's direct, and this car grips well as well, so it's pretty good fun in the corners. You do need to push it quite hard to get some understeer. You know, I'm actually really hooning this car down here, and it's coping pretty well. So well, in fact, I think I'm gonna go back for some more. And as you would expect from a car like this, the turning circle is pretty good. So it's perfect for driving around town, very manoeuvrable, and it makes the car easy to drive. Right, on the brakes here, turn it in. Steering felt a little bit vague there, but still nice and direct. But I would want a little bit more feedback. The turn-in was pretty crisp, but halfway through the turn, I didn't get a sense of what the front wheels are doing, and I thought, well, do I need more lock, less lock? I know this isn't a full-fat VXR, but if you're a young driver that's just passed your test, then I definitely think this car is a good proposition for you. The Vauxhall Corsa is a popular car. If it wasn't for the Fiesta, this car would probably be a best-selling hatchback in Britain. And I have to say, this model is pretty decent. So then, to conclude, the Corsa SRi VX-Line, it gives young drivers a good opportunity to get their hands on a sporty looking hatchback which can offer a good amount of fun, although I personally wouldn't have the diesel engine, but if you're looking for economy, then that's the engine to have. I would also say that other cars in its class are more fun to drive, but that's personal opinion. Anyway, stick around for my next video because I'm going to be going out in this, the Corsa VXR, and that ought to be good fun. But until then, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up, and please subscribe for more car obsession.